It's hump day again, everyone, and we are back in Yosemite Valley. It is time for the second habitat of our night house or our nocturnal house. And I hope you still are safe at home, everyone, and you got enough time at hand to watch some movies, because this is going to be quite a long episode. It's not as dramatic, though, as my Quali Zoo stuff, but it's quite a little bit of time that goes into this episode. It's already sped up quite a bit, so that the time lapse does fit in, and as always in Yosemite lately, we will have a little bit of a real-time part. Now, first of all, I want to let you vote in the comments down below. What about having an episode in between, maybe on Friday, where we do a tour of the current park? Let's say, not really a tour, like really showing everything, but more like really going over the bits and pieces that are still missing and doing some kind of a crowdfunding, so to say. No, it's actually not a crowdfunding, it's more like a crowdsourcing of ideas, so more or less like a brainstorming. And what about doing that even maybe live? Not really sure. So let me know in the comments down below if you would be up for an episode of Yosemite Valley, checking out what has to be done next before, hopefully, or who knows, but eventually in the future, a DLC will drop. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below if that is the thing. Also, one thing I want to know is, are you guys working at home at this point in time? So does your work allow you to work at home, or what kind of jobs do you have? So that, because for me personally, it's super easy. I'm working in an advertising agency, and usually our work, like most of our work we do, actually is some kind of transferable into the digital world anyways, because we are working solely digital. If you take out the meetings and some printouts and stuff, which you easily can merge into an online world. It's just that we Germans are somewhat behind when it comes to digitalization in general. Like, our internet connections is super bad. Like, I'm still not convinced that it will hold these next couple of weeks, that our internet connection will be stable. But who knows? Maybe I'm surprised. But just the general, it's not really about the technology per se. It's more about the people in Germany. So the people in Germany are very restrictive when it comes to digital stuff. So they're very much holding back when it comes to trying new stuff in general. So the Germans are really focusing on keeping their status rather than going for something new. So I think that's one of the things you can say about the German in general. So the Germans really try to, play it safe. And this is what you do see quite often in our society, in our economy. And that's something that is also the reason why YouTube, for example, took so long to take off in Germany, also Twitch and stuff. It's not about the, I don't want to talk about the old people. It's quite something that goes through all the different ages in German culture. It doesn't matter if the people are 15, 16, or 65, 67, 85, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's all about the general attitude, and I think this is why Germany was lacking behind. And so, if you want to take anything positive from the things happening right now, it might hopefully open their eyes to people what digitalization into the digital world can actually give them. For me personally, it's at least for the moment, okay, but in general, for me, it's not really hard to work at home, because I'm so used to it. In fact, my work situation is better than at work, because my computer is set up, every little inch of it is perfectly set up. I just need to turn on the power, and I know everything runs, and if there is an issue, I can fix it myself. I don't need to call the IT, I don't need to call anyone, and we can work fully remote from here, so that's awesome, that's really cool. And I really hope that the Germans learn that by heart now, because I think it's very important in general to keep the society, but also to keep the economy alive. And yeah, I'm just very much hoping for that. Now, back to the fact that I wanted to know that I really am curious to see how it behaves in other countries, because I really feel like that other countries are far more advanced when it comes to digital, not really work only. It's also about the digital world, how to connect, FaceTime is a thing in many countries. In general, like video conference calls and stuff is also not really part of German society. I mean, it's still, I like also having actual meetings, I'm a big fan of that too, but that doesn't mean it actually excludes doing some digital stuff as well. And I think just being able to work with it, and just having the knowledge of how it works and some kind of experience in that helps for situations like that. And let's all hope that we won't have this kind of situation again in the future once this is done. But yeah, in general, I just want to talk about this German attitude toward digital media, which becomes more or less an issue right now. But yeah, again, if there is one thing positive, we will learn it by heart now. So yeah, that's it. But now let's talk about what I'm doing in this episode, because it's pretty exciting. At least I think it is, because I feel like that you are seeing how much you can do with the game once you put yourself into a challenge that you tried to avoid for quite a while. But I think the Night House really opened my eyes again for some issues of the game, but also some cool bits about the game. So the first issue I saw is, I think it's my very cold and distant relationship to the small exhibits. Now, okay, so if you are not interested in me rambling about the exhibits, skip forward 5 minutes, because that's gonna take some while now. The small exhibits are a necessary addition to the game, but I have a lot of issues with them the more I use them, and there is a reason why I avoided them for a long time in my franchise zoos, in my sandbox zoos. The lack of customization in these things is incredible, mainly because these little things you can change in the habitat are more or less completely redundant, if you ask me. I don't care if there's one branch more or less. I would care if there are 10 branches and 20 different rocks and 40 different lamps or whatever. That would get in some cool variation. But you've got 9 options at max, which even if you mix them up, it gets super repetitive after a very short amount of time. But that's not even the biggest issue. I'm totally fine with customizing myself. You will see that later on. I'm doing my own lamps and using them. I can also put some rocks in, and I don't even care if the animals glitch through it or not. I'm not that. I'm not having a hard time with that. It's all fine. But what I really have a hard time with is this kind of boxy layout, okay? So we don't have different sizes. We don't have the option to disable the glass. We don't have the option to connect 2 to 1. Like, it makes this whole thing so... It's actually a prefab. And when there's one thing I don't like in creative games, it's a prefab. It's like, I don't care. It's just, yeah, I have to use it because I want these animals in, but I cannot make these animals be open, For example, it would be so cool to have a desert house, and like in Burger Zoo, for example, you have that wonderful desert house, and you can have the animals roam around more or less free. These that don't kill you or whatever, or don't bite you, can be roaming around free. But the others are in a sunken habitat or whatever, so they cannot get out. But it's so cool to have this really like open. There's no glass, there's no window in between you and the animal. There's just like a sunken area so that they don't escape and you don't go in. But the whole house is heated up quite crazy, so it's like a cool experience. Like in the winter, you get in there, it's super hot, it's super dry, and it's actually pretty cool. It gives you the environment, it gives you the feel where these animals live. It's not like you are standing in a normally temperatured environment and you look into the box and this box inside might be warm. I know in terms of in terms of sustainability and how much heat you need and stuff like that, these boxes might be better. I totally agree, but sandbox mode, give me a bit more freedom. That'd be awesome, because in general I feel like these animals that I've done are looking phenomenal for the given size. Okay, I at the very beginning, if you remember, I did a video on these exhibit animals before we knew actually how they will turn out to be, and I know once Frontier confirmed that these animals won't be fully animated, that they only will be static and just kind of swap position when you're not looking at it. So it's more like teleported from, let's say, 7 to 10 fixed spawn points, and they are just like static at these spawn points, and basically just move like an animatronic, if you will. Like, there's no difference from an animatronic in Planet Coaster at this point in time with the exhibit animals, and some of the ones in Planet Coaster via the Theme Maker's toolkit are exceptionally good and exceptionally well done. So In fact, you could make a much more realistic looking and cool looking small exhibit in Planet Coaster than you can do in Planet Zoo. And this is exactly where, for me, the problem starts. And I totally get that. Back in the days, I was really sorry, and I was really feeling bad about the decision that these animals are not fully animated. But at this point in time, I don't see it that big of an issue. It's actually okay, you know. If the animations are well done, the models are exceptional, and the textures for these small animals are also absolutely freaking gorgeous. Okay, it's super good, but again, it's not that usable. And this is what strikes me. It could be so cool if we could only disable the glass, disable the top piece, disable, you know, it just a little bit more. I don't need that much. I need just a little bit. Or maybe combine 4 to 1. That would be awesome as well. So you only have the outer glass, for example. So at least you have something bigger to put some more animals in, or to just make it a bit more realistic, or to kind of whatever, pretend different shapes. That would be awesome as well, because the next point is, it's blocky. It's just a freaking block. It's not roundish. You cannot make round edges. It is just a freaking block. In height and in width, it's just a block. And that's kind of, give me some more freedom. I understand all of that. Okay. I really do know that the focus has been on other animals, and that is totally fine. So if it's for me, just give us an update in the future where you give us more options to the exhibit animals. And it's almost like adding new animals to the game for me, because I want to avoid most of the animals in these small exhibits, just because I think they are not vital. They are not interesting enough for me and not cool enough for me to be used in that zoo. And here's the other side of the medal, if you will. Because now it was quite negative. But here's the very positive about this. There is so much frontier put into these small exhibits, which is actually pretty cool, which I think could have been taken and made into an asset that is so much more powerful. I love the fact that you need to treat the animals in there with temperature and humidity. I like that. I like the fact that you need to clean the glass. I like that a lot. You know, there are some cool mechanics or mechanisms in place that are really vital to the gameplay in franchise, but that's where it stops. Why is there nothing in place that could make also it more interesting for Sandbox, or even more challenging for the gameplay in franchise? So, for example, why aren't these exhibits that consume more heat and more humidity, why aren't they more expensive than others, for example? Because, you know, the more you consume in energy, the more you would need to put down in terms of transformers or solar panels or whatnot. So why not give them a different value? That would be so cool. Or why can you not make, for example, the more crowded it is, the more dirty the glass gets. So the quicker the glass gets dirty, for example. So there's so much cool stuff about them, what they really did think of. Okay, I really like the fact that I did think of so many different things. I'm a big fan of that. So it's always the same thing. Sometimes Frontier goes into a level of detail which is beyond ridiculous, but then some of the basic stuff is lacking in that kind of sense, which I'm always like, why you do this to me? You have the brilliant idea, but you forget about the basis, okay? It's really like, it's so, I just want to take some of them and just hug them and kind of friendly punch them at the same time. It's like, you went the right road, but you missed 2 doors. It's like, it's so frustrating at some points, because there's so much cool knowledge out there and so much cool things about this. So maybe this translates to them, and we see some improvements about them in the future. Because the more I look at these animals, the more I love them. They are, again, as I said, if you look at the puff adder, for example, or the Gila monster, if you look at them from up close, it's exceptional. It's like really crazy how detailed and how nicely done the animations are, for example. It's like it deserves a way bigger kind of implementation in the game, so that the attention is so much better for them. Because honestly, if you see those 2 tabs in the bottom part of the screen, it's animal trading and exhibit trading. They are having the exact same weighting. The buttons are the same size. The marketplace is not shared. It's every one of those has the same market space. It's almost like that they left some space also for example aquatic animals and aviary animals, okay? Because there are two more areas where you could put down such a button, but they have exactly the same value, but it doesn't feel the same for me. It's like animal trading. And yeah, maybe eventually some exhibits if you need them. Okay, so it's like I don't even think about that. So it's a bit of a shame. Okay, it wasn't 5 minutes rambling, it was 10 minutes. I'm so sorry. We are already at the end of this time lapse, but as always, when I have a real-time part, I don't talk too much about it because it's way easier to show this off in the real-time part. So hopefully you liked me talking about my opinion of the exhibits, just because it was so fitting, because I did do them in this episode. Anyways, we see each other after the cut in the real time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are in the real-time part, and yeah, I am at a different spot at this time. So as you can see, we come down here from the other side of this building. Oops, where am I? God, my movement is crazy. Yeah, I promised you to look around a little bit less because it was a little bit distracting last time. I tried to implement that feedback now because you were right. It was a shame to watch. Really, it was not nice to watch that. It get people dizzy, and yeah, I'm gonna try to improve that this time. But as always, we're trying to make this tour out of the position of the guest actually. As you can see, I did a whole bunch of work to hide away the right hand side, which is the backstage area. You can see, I think we did a good job in that, because as this door is closed, we can actually hit play. It doesn't really matter too much because there's all fine. We don't have guests in here and nothing is happening. So yeah, when the door is closed, you can see it's hidden away nicer, or in a nice way actually. On the left hand side, I didn't do too much. We have to still hide this backstage area a bit more. But as we go a little bit more up high here, now let me just go a bit quicker. We have this first little plaza, which is not really the entrance. It's more or less like a little chill out area. We have a fake little door down here, which could be an access for staff if needed. But it's more or less hidden in here in the corner. It's not really obvious. It's actually pretty cool, I guess, because it does hide it away nicely. And on the right hand side, you only have the nature, and because of a bit of terrain work here, you can actually say that the wall is even more or less disappearing in the foliage. It's only there to make sure that you don't open up the view, but in the back, and this is always pretty important for the sidelines and for the directional of your zoo, you can see the lemur dome. So in fact, there is an attraction that you would go to. You're not looking at the backstage area, and you're looking at an actual attraction. So that is actually what drives you to go there. So that is over here. But if we go further, you can see there is this little statue, which I'm not really sure if I like it or not. But this person just glitched in here. We have to do something with the yeah, I think I will fix that with the bins, because otherwise there is no way. We don't have curbs or whatever. Yeah, but this is a little statue which shows you the moon, and in the middle again the moon as a symbol for the night sky. And I wanted to do a bit more of an abstract little statue rather than doing like an actual moon or whatever. I don't know. I'm really split. On one hand, I like that because it looks so different and it looks really abstract. On the other hand side, I have a hard time figuring if I like it or not. I'm really not sure. But yeah, another bit of seating here. You have this one giant sequoia in the back. And then if you turn around, you have this first entrance of the wonderful night house. I got your feedback that you guys said it might be better to call it nocturnal house. The only issue is it really changed a little bit of the layout, so I might do it eventually. If you guys are really keeping saying in the comments that I should change it, I definitely do it. But if you're fine with night house and there's nothing against it in terms of grammar, I guess, and actual language, I shall keep it because it's actually such a pain to do it. But anyways, one thing I do like is how this half dome still peeks through. If you can see that, I love the sidelines. I love how this works together, and how much of more immersive this all gets now. You can really see that I thought a lot about the positioning of the half dome up front, and it really pays off at this point in time. But yeah, so I think it's about time to go in. But before we do so, let's change the time of day, because we definitely want to see that in a good situation. And yeah, the problem is the game does not work the way it should. It's not really dark indoors, so we have to get it dark via the time I really would love if we can get kind of zoning for nighttime or whatever to, I know the problem why I cannot get it pitch black. It's basically the same problem as it was in Planet Coaster. The engine just has this little bit of issue about there, and it's quite hard to do scenery pieces that create a full dark area. But maybe we can have something like the time machine, which is, I don't know, connected to an area, which you could set like barriers. I don't know if that works, but yeah, in Planet Coaster we got rid of the problem with the dark rides in terms of setting this time machine, and I would really love to see that in here as well. Anyways, we waited enough, and I moved the camera too much as well. So we go in, and you can see, booyah, this is the full experience. I love it. You come up, by the way, a little bit higher, and oh wait, I didn't cover that up. I still need to do this. Forgot it. God, Rudy. You come up and you're a little bit higher, so you get this first peek in here, but I managed to avoid the view as much as possible, so you need to go in to get a better view of the aardvark. You can see it's just only peeking through, but what you want to do is you want to go further in, and then the view opens up into this wonderful desert area over here. Look at that. I mean, doesn't that look fantastic? I am such a huge fan of that. I think even that becomes the thumbnail of the episode, because I feel like this looks freaking gorgeous. You know what we do? We just take a screenshot of that, and then I can make that as the thumbnail of the episode. What's going on with my voice? Now we move further in. Oh, there's a door missing. God, why did I miss so many things? Now, as we go in, this is my favorite part. Look at how that looks. I think if I ever imagined a night house, and these night houses I can think of, they did look exactly this way, with all the feeling and with the charm of it. I think it really translates the night feel absolutely ace. It's just really giving you this warm summer night feel. Okay, maybe I sound weird, but it's like sitting at the barbecue, having some of pieces still at the grill or at the fireplace. Is that called? And you can just enjoy your time. It's warm, you don't need to worry about temperature. That's kind of the feeling it gives me. And yeah, you have this wonderful place over here where there is this one window in front of you where you get the best view into the aardvark habitat, mainly because these aardvarks seem to be moving around quite a bit more than the pangolins. But yeah, as we move, oops, oh god, I didn't want to do it that quick. Sorry for the people getting dizzy, sorry for that. But yeah, so it's this habitat on the side. The entrance to the habitat is nicely hidden behind that corner over here, so I didn't spend too much time making that nice. You cannot see that anyways, and this is how it is in actual zoos too. And then you can see I tried my best in making these boxes look less like these boxes by just breaking up the mood of how this is set up, by just having a bit more of triangle shapes here and just making it very much more different shape. So making this edge down here in the end and making this kind of L shape out of it really helped, I guess. But yeah, so this is it. I tried to make sure that we do have a nice little top area that is a bit different. I made my own lampposts or lamps that hang down. I think they look fairly okay. These are the in-game ones, and these are the ones that I did. I also used a little trick that I think you saw that in the time lapse. Oh, there's one of the lights peeking out. So yeah, what I did basically is I created this, and then let me just go, and I put this down there because it creates a nice little wait, hello? Can I not just move that? Oh, that is a branch. This is what I wanted. So you can see this is the light, and if I delete this, it doesn't really create the light down here as you would wish to have it. So you see, that's it, and it creates the reflection that you really want to have. So this is why I still have that light. Why the hell is that so bright, by the way? I made that actually a bit... This is the color it should have. Whatever. And it also gets a lot less if you pull that further down. Well, whatever. Okay, so this is how I did it. This is the little trick. Maybe I have to adjust them all and make the light a little bit less strong. But as you can see, these ones are pretty strong. But the cool bit about these is they only cast the light down here. So you have this very bright area, but they don't really make the whole outer area too bright. So it's, yeah, these are no area lights. These are point lights, or like directional lights. I would wish to have some more directional lights in the game as well that are also smaller. I would love to be able to have them. But yeah, on the right hand side you have the pangolin habitat from the last episode. It is still working, still doing its job, but as I said, they are not moving around as much as the Aardvarks, so this is why I gave the Aardvarks a bit of an open thingy, and they have a bit more of a viewing area for the pangolins on that side. Yeah, that's mainly it. There are still a few things I need to tweak. Need to finish off that wall over here. Need to put in the door. Need to put in some of the educational boards. But this is stuff I'm not really doing an episode on. I'm just doing that in between, and then it's just there. Okay, it's just there. Maybe we can have a look at this in the tour. Also, I was a big fan of how this roofing looks with the just at the entrance, you know, with the I think it's the opaque glass thing working, and then everything gets dark because that's it. Also, some of you suggested to have some floor lighting, and I think I'm gonna go into looking into that, how this can be done, because I found some lights, but they did cast a little bit too much light, so I need to find some things that do only glow, and then I will put them down here because I think that would work fairly nice. But yeah, as we move further, we are leaving that house. You can see there's a little bit of play here, so if this open area, and then you can still look outside through the glass, but at the same time there is a little bit of kind of secure area to not cast too much light inside the house because you want to keep it dark. Yeah, that's how it is. And then you move outside and you are basically in that area again. And if you turn around, I made the lighting a bit nicer of these houses. Don't mind these red things. These are my markers to make sure that if I raised the roof a few times to make sure that I have a better view inside this house, and to know where to put these buildings back down to the exact same level. I have these red markers. That's the only reason why I have them. But yeah, so that's it. Little showcase. Quite a long episode, as I said, but I hope you guys appreciate that, and I really hope that you did appreciate this episode. Again, all the questions I mentioned at the beginning, I would really love to see some feedback about it. And now it's time to say goodbye for today. I'm gonna see you in the next episode, which might already be tomorrow, who knows. Quite a bit of content planned. So see you then, have a good time, and goodbye. Alrighty guys, thank you for watching this video, I really do appreciate that. As always, make sure to check out also my social media channels. You can find me everywhere under @RudyRandCamel. Also, big thanks to the crew, you can see it on the left hand side right now. And as always, if you want to see more, you click that card on the top right. And if you want to stick around because you like the stuff you've just saw, whatever, you know what I mean, just click that sub button, which is to the bottom right of the screen right now. But everything else I can say is have a great time and see you next time. Bye guys.